Once upon a time, in the lush green meadows of Whispering Woods, lived a cheerful little groundhog named Gus. Gus had a shiny round coat and bright, curious eyes that were always looking for new adventures. His home was a cozy burrow under the old oak tree, which he shared with his best friend, a wise and gentle rabbit named Ruby. One sunny morning, Gus woke up with an idea buzzing in his head like a busy bee. "Today, we're going to explore beyond the great hill," he declared to Ruby, who was nibbling on a juicy carrot. Ruby twitched her nose thoughtfully. "Beyond the great hill? That's a big adventure, Gus. Are you sure we're ready for it?" Gus nodded eagerly. "Oh yes, think of all the wonders we might discover. New friends, hidden paths, maybe even the legendary Golden Acorn." Ruby's ears perked up at the mention of the Golden Acorn. Legends said it was hidden somewhere in the forest and granted a wish to anyone who found it. "All right," she agreed, "but we must be careful and stick together." Off they went, Gus leading the way with a bounce in his step. Ruby hopping beside him. They climbed and clambered over rocks, crossed babbling brooks, and weaved through thick bushes. As they reached the top of the great hill, they paused and gazed in awe at the sprawling forest below. As they ventured deeper into the woods, they heard a rustling sound. "Who's there?" Gus called bravely, though he trembled a little. Out stepped Freddie, the sly fox, with a grin wider than the river. "Looking for the Golden Acorn, are we?" he teased, his eyes twinkling mischievously. Gus and Ruby exchanged a glance. "Yes, we are," said Ruby, thinking it best to be honest. "Do you know where it is?" Freddie chuckled. "I might know a thing or two. Follow me if you dare." With curiosity outweighing caution, Gus and Ruby followed the fox along a winding trail lined with blooming flowers and towering trees. Suddenly, Freddie stopped and pointed with his bushy tail. There, in a sunny glade, stood a magnificent oak tree, its branches heavy with golden leaves, and right at its foot, the fabled Golden Acorn. Gus blinked in amazement. "We found it," he whispered. Ruby could hardly believe her eyes. "It's real," Freddie smiled. "A find worthy of your adventure, wouldn't you say?" Gus and Ruby thanked Freddie, who waved and disappeared into the woodlands. Carefully, Gus picked up the Golden Acorn. "What should we wish for, Ruby?" he asked. Ruby thought for a moment, her eyes filled with joy. "Let's wish for more adventures together, Gus." Gus nodded in agreement, holding the acorn tight as they made their wish together. The acorn glowed softly, and they knew their wish had been heard. And so, Gus and Ruby returned home, their hearts light and their friendship even stronger. They knew that every day promised a new adventure, and with each other by their side, there was nothing they couldn't discover in the magical world of Whispering Woods.